Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate with your host, Kevin Perenio. As an owner and C-level executive for 20 plus years in finance, KP is here to serve you with all of his knowledge and experience. Whether you're a broker, realtor, or just interested in the economy, this is the podcast for you. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Corona, California. Well, I was going to get a video out yesterday and had a really busy day. And then I saw the alert about the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and just kind of stopped me in my tracks a little bit. So, apologize for not getting that out. It's just it's a tough deal. I'm from Texas. I'm a Texas Longhorn. One of our great mascots, Matthew McConaughey, is from that city, actually. Got 4 kids, 3rd grader, 1st grader, pre-K, and a 3-year-old. Man, it just really hits home. And then my high school, Berkner High School, you can look it up today. There was a kid who had a replica of an AR-15 and was seen stalking around my high school and was back in Richardson, Texas, which is a north suburb of Dallas. So really crazy stuff going on in this world. And you can't fix crazy, but we got to try and find a way to do it. I don't profess to have answers here. I try and be apolitical here. I mean, I think everyone's voicing an opinion, but it's kind of all the above. There's no one thing. Yes, we could probably do a better job of mental screening. Yes, we could do better background checks. Yes, some kind of gun control, would work. Yes, we need more God in our life. Yes, we need more faith. Yes, we need better families and more diligence. But at the same time, this world is crazy, and there are things that just happen, and it's nuts out there. And so, can't really say, I have all the answers, but, apologize for not getting a video out. And obviously, thoughts and prayers and progress and policy all going out to this awful incident. By the way, is COVID over with 1 million people registering deceased in America on the Johns Hopkins report from COVID-19? Now we're talking about monkeypox. Man, I give up. I don't even know what's going on here. I'm just going to keep the faith. And I don't mean that in a religious aspect, although I am Christian, but just keep the faith. I'm just going to walk one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and keep plowing through no matter what life throws our way. That's all we can do. We can only control what we can control. And you'd be surprised, though, how much you can control that's around you. So let's talk about some things that we can control and that we can't control. Get into some housing news. I want to congratulate the now confirmed FHFA director, Sandra Thompson, the first African-American female to be appointed to this position, which is quite the accomplishment. Had a chance to see her speak multiple times since about a year ago, since the Supreme Court ruled that the president has the authority to terminate the director, and then Director Calabria at the time resigned. And a year later, finally, she gets confirmed. And let's get some stuff done. I know it's an election year. Not a lot of drastic craziness is going to go out, I guess, before a midterm. Both parties are trying to get more power. Stock markets are choppy. We're seeing some signs of slowing in the economy and housing even. But it's good to have at least some steady captain at the helm. So congratulations, Director Sandra Thompson, on that. Okay, so we've got other macro global stuff going on that obviously impacts, the economy and our rates and housing and what's going on with our career and real estate and mortgages and lending. All these companies are reporting earnings here as we're getting ready to wrap up Q1 earnings season. I mean, July basically kicks off Q2 earnings season. So it's going to be pretty choppy in the markets out there between now and then. But a lot of these companies who are reporting Q1 earnings are saying, hey, we did good, we beat, or maybe we didn't beat, but supply chain is still an issue. Inflation and prices that are input prices for the cost of their goods and services, headwinds, China being locked down because of their zero COVID policy. Are they going to have a zero monkeypox policy? Are they even going to get it? I don't know. You've got other issues out there like Ukraine, which, most of the world's food, 10% of the world's food comes from there. It's one of the biggest single sources of food in the world. oil, gas, all this disruption, all this craziness. Again, all we can do is put one foot in front of the other. But on that note, speaking of Russia, I know I mentioned to you that McDonald's pulled out of all their Russian restaurants, which is about 10% of their revenue. Starbucks shut down all of their Russian stores. So they announced they are permanently closing all their Starbucks. So do svidaniya to Starbucks in Russia. That is 1% of Starbucks' total revenue. So not a huge thing. Okay, so a new home sales report came out, and it was very interesting. It is down. I think the number was down 27% year over year and 7% month over month from March to April. So new home sales, new construction, which you guys have seen. I've done some videos showing some of the spec homes that me and my partners are working on, fix and flip, ground up construction. There's still a housing supply shortage, but a lot of the mega builders, remember 2 builders, D.R. Horton and Lennar Homes, they account for 53% of all single family construction. And so, they're facing some headwinds. There is some slowdown in demand, obviously, with higher interest rates. Some of these contracts that bars go under when they get a new home loan, they're locking in a 2.5%, 3.5% rate. Rates are like 5, 5.3, 5.25, depending on where you look, which, by the way, the 10-year has seemed to have leveled off and come back down. It hit that peak around 320 and is down in that 275, 270, 280 range. What do the bond traders know that we don't? I mean, we're looking at people saying there's slowing growth and all these earnings reports. Now we're seeing slowdowns in housing. We're seeing slowdown in new homes and even some cracks in existing homes. What do the bond traders see that we don't? Remember the macro picture around the world. If you look at everything around the world, our bonds are a safe haven. People around the world want to buy, have a flight to quality when there is disruption or potential recession looming out there. Are we in a recession right now? I don't know. I know we're seeing slowing growth, especially compared to a year ago, which was record growth. But compared to last month, the last quarter, are we seeing negative growth? Are we seeing 6 months in a row of negative growth? That's the definition of a recession. The consumer is very strong. The balance sheet at home is very strong. Equity is still very strong, and cash flow balances are very strong. We have a great labor market. And so, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, he says, I don't really see a recession. The probability is slight, but he isn't really seeing it because the consumer is strong, because retail sales are strong. Even if consumer sentiment in a survey from the Michigan survey is a little bit down, the consumer retail sales, the actual data, is pretty good. So we have to keep an eye on that. The labor market is also another area. Are we seeing job losses? Are we seeing unemployment rise? That would be a sign of being in a recession. Now, some of the data points that I've read or heard about out there, like, for example, Tom Lee from Fundstrat Advisors, I saw a clip where he says that he uses Indeed data, Indeed.com job data. And he said since March 31st, there has been a softening of jobs in leisure, retail, construction, and healthcare. Now, if there's cracks in those jobs, those aren't the white-collar jobs necessarily. So again, we're seeing this widening of this wealth gap, this divergence of haves and have-nots. But you're seeing some softening in some of those jobs. Maybe some of those 11.5 million job openings, 11 million job openings from the JOLTS reports, maybe that will start to come down. Maybe some people will start to lose their jobs. We're seeing layoffs, obviously, in our industry. We're starting to see some layoffs announced by some major corporations in the headlines. Will that continue going into the second half of this year? That's something we have to look at. Okay, so let me say one more thing about the Fed. The Fed is scheduled in their June meeting that's coming up here in a couple weeks to have their second 50 basis point rate hike. And that would put them at a total of 1.25. And then in their final meeting in the summer, they're doing another 50. So they say some of their governors and speakers are coming out and saying, we may take a look in September and then just pause and see what's going on with the data. Now, the recession is something that could be happening right now, partly because the Fed is raising interest rates and a slowing of growth. And one thing that I saw, it was Jeremy Siegel, who's an economist, he basically said that the money supply in the past month has shrunk faster in 1 month than it has in over 60 years. That shrinking of money supply is part of that balloon analogy that I keep talking about, reflating, inflating, deflating this economy. The Fed has some power. We're going to see what their actions are going to do to our economy and how it impacts our interest rates. But if you've noticed, mortgage interest rates have been relatively flat and range bound. Maybe they've peaked. Maybe inflation has peaked. Maybe the worst is over. I can only be hopeful about everything in life. Cheers.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents, a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.